Welcome to this episode of Vaping 101. On this one we're going to go through all the different types of tanks that are available. So you've got all these different acronyms for tanks. You've got RDAs, RSAs, RDTAs, RTAs. It's just going to do a quick run through on what each of these means and how they're differ from each other. So we'll start off with the very basic one. We'll start off with the sub-ohm tank. So I've got the Smok 22 pen here. This has a sub-ohm tank built into it. So you've got your coil in the middle there. You can see that where the white wicking holes are. And your coil is just going to draw the liquid through. You've got your wicking agent, which is your cotton, that draws the liquid to the coil. And the coil heats up and vaporizes the liquid. And you end up producing your clouds. Another version of that is this right here. This is the Big Baby Beast, also from Smok. Got your 510 connector at the bottom there. Adjustable airflow, and you can get different types of coils for this one. I do have some coils sitting right here. So there's a pack of coils. You just swap them as you are ready to, as the coils burn out, and you change them. So these are the off-the-shelf, easy bought, put together sub-ohm tanks. Very straightforward. A majority of devices will come with one of these, especially if you're getting something like this, then it's all built in. The tank is actually part of the unit on this one. So next we're going to look at an RTA. So here I've got the Freak Show sitting on top of the Simple Mod. This is a straightforward 22mm RDA, and RDA stands for Rebuildable Dripper Atomizer. Now for this one, it is a straightforward dual coil build. You can see it in there. There's two coils in there with the wick all around it. And with this, there's no tank containing any e-liquid. So when you are ready to add more liquid, what you need to do is drip the liquid on top. So for this one, the top section comes off. Drip a little bit of juice in there, get your wicks all nice and moist, and then you can hit it again. The advantages of an RDA over a tank are the flavor. You're getting a lot more flavor production from an RDA. The coils are usually a lot tighter to you. You can also adjust the coils. You can put your own coil builds in there. You can get different types of coils. There are a lot of variations on the types of deck sections that you've got. So you can get velocity style decks with a dual post there. You can get triple post like this one. You can get postless deck like on the Pulse 24, for example. So there's lots of different types of RDAs that are out there. RDAs are best for getting the flavor out of devices. You can also get some cloud chasing versions as well. You do find that a lot of rebuilders do tend to use RDAs, especially if they're trying to get the flavor. Now, a variant on the RDA is what's called the bottom feed RDA or the Squonk RDA. So BF, bottom feed. Still rebuildable dripper atomizers. So we've got the Pulse 24 here sitting on top of the Pulse Squonk mod. And essentially the main difference here is the Squonk pin. So at the bottom of the RDA, you'll see that there is a hole in the center there. And that is so that when you squonk, there's also a hole in the bottom there. So you squeeze your juice bottle and the juice will come up into the RDA. So it saves you the effort of having to drip onto your coils, brings up all that juice straight in, ready to go. And that way you're getting all the flavor that you would get from a standard RDA with the convenience of having the juice available from the squonking. And there's all that flavor coming through that you would expect. This is a very nice RDA. It's 24mm, and I've got a single coil build in there, as you can see. This is a straightforward one as well. With most of these RDAs that are coming with the bottom feed pin or the squonk pin, you do get a standard pin as well, so you can use them as a dripper also. So you've got the choices with a lot of these. This one, for example, postless deck, nice and easy to build on, and the airflow is really good for the flavor. So next up we got an RTA. Now an RTA is a rebuildable tank atomizer. So essentially it's the same as the sub-ohm tank, except that it's got a rebuildable deck section within it. Now this one is the Coiler Azeroth triple coil deck that I've got here. I've done a review on this, it's on the channel there. So I'm just going to open this up so you can see what I'm talking about. So you've got the standard 510 connector. I've got it upside down here, so I'm just going to open it up and take the deck section out so you can see. There we go. So unlike the sub-ohm tank where you just swap the coils in and out, this has the rebuildable section. You see it's a triple coil section that I'm using on this one, and that means that you can change up the coils that you're using. You can put different builds in so that you can get different production on the flavor and the resistance, and you can tailor it to what you like. So it has the convenience of the flavor of a RDA, but unlike an RDA, you've got the tank of juice there. Now there are some downsides to these. Some RTAs do have leaking issues. It's usually down to the way that they're wicked. You've got to get the wick just right so it's causing enough juice to come in, but not too much, otherwise you will get leakage through the air holes. This one specifically, very, very difficult to get the wicking just right for it. If you go check out my video on this, it's got a tutorial on how to build and wick on the triple coil deck, and I think this is still the build from when I made that video. And the flavor production that you get off something like this is a lot higher than you would do from a sub-ohm tank. You're also getting that cloud production because it is of the same sort of caliber. So last but not least, we've got the RDTA. Now an RDTA is a rebuildable dripper tank atomizer. So it's a bit of everything going on here. So essentially what we've got is, well, this one is the Skyhook from Smock. There is a Skyhook box mod as well, but this is just the tank that I've got here. So what we've got is an RDA section on top of a tank of juice. So the top section here, if I take the cap off, you'll see it's a velocity style deck with the two posts here. I've got a nice narrow build with lots of wraps going on there for lots of flavor production. And we've got the wicks that actually drip, that go all the way down into the tank of juice. So what happens is, as you're vaping on it and the juice is coming away from the coils, you're vaporizing it, the wicks will pull more juice up from the tank. So you've got the combination of both having the flavor production from an RDA and the convenience of having a tank attached. Now, like the RTA, you do get leaking issues with these depending on how you wick them. This one specifically has a glaring problem with it, with the juice fill. So the actual juice fill hole is in between two of the wicks. So in order to get the juice hole there, you need to have a gap in the wick, which means that it's prone to leakage. Not a great design, but as a device, the flavor production is really good. It's just not convenient if you take it out and about. So there we go. That's a quick run through on each of the different types of tanks there are out there. They all operate in essentially the same principle. You've got your wicking agent drawing the liquid into the coil. The coil is then vaporizing the liquid. But it's the different methods of getting that liquid to that coil and how you're using that. Personal choice, if I could get a really good one that worked and was convenient, and then an RDTA would be the best solution. However, I've yet to find one that does not have leaking problems, that I'm able to get built and wicked really easily and go from there. So the sort of next sort of in between would definitely be the Squonk ones, because you are getting that build in there and you've got the convenience of the Squonk bottle. So these two sort of variants are very good, and given the choices, I would probably go with the Squonks. If I'm just doing a bit of flavor chasing, a bit of testing of some flavors, then I will stick to an RDA, do a bit of dripping. The convenience of a dripper is that you can change the wick over, change the flavor of juice very, very quickly. Makes it a lot easier. But if you're out and about, if you're just on a day out, then you do find it a lot easier to go around with a sub-ohm tank or a sub-ohm device like this. So there are all these different variants, different variations, but they all do essentially the same job. And hopefully this has explained the differences for you. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. I do loads of vaping videos, more vaping 101s, vape questions, vape news, vape reviews, vape previews, and a daily vlog. So go subscribe to the channel. I've got a Patreon that's up and running. There's rewards on that. Go jump over, take a look at that, www.patreon.com/purplemongoose. Go follow me on Twitter there. That's the @1purplemongoose. And as ever, vape on.